Hello and welcome back. This is David from the Personal Finance Squad. We are in exercise 7 of creating the budget, where we're going to go through gasoline. Now, we went through this in the book, of course, and we can see here that you can refer to section 3.5 for the complete detailed exercise. So what we're going to do here is just go through some brief pieces into it that are the crux of what you need to do. So what we speak of here is going through the gasoline exercise. Does take a couple steps. The things you need to start figuring out for this, for every car that you drive, you certainly need to know the gas mileage in the fuel tank. It's because that's going to tell you how many miles that you're going to get per tank. Now, the other thing you can see here is determine the fuel mileage by way of an owner's manual or web search. Pretty simple to find out, really, and it'll show city highway, so it might say 16 city rather, and /22 highway. It's usually something like that. The variance between the two isn't huge. So you can have a gauge of how many miles that you drive on the highway and how you drive in the city. I know on the whole, unless you're driving a lot of highway miles or a lot of city, you pretty much can just probably split this down the middle and say I'm getting about 20 per gallon, something like that. Now really, on a lot of cars, if you consider it accurate, that it'll tell you the miles per gallon. So that saves you some math. To really understand what you're doing, you need to understand how many miles that you're driving per week. And this is a tough thing to know in terms of making a trip table. But again, if you really want to get down to really handling your money, then you really need to really take at least a look at it to understand what you're doing. So again, you can see this table here that how many miles of work, which is probably the most common where people drive most of their miles if they're definitely a distance away. Again, the common things like gym, errands, family, friends, leisure. So in any event, you're going to know how much you drive and how often you need to fill up your tank. It might be once a week, might be twice a month, it might be twice a week, depending. You might be a salesman or something. So, whatever works for you is what you need to figure out. Now, what you can see down here that we put in 25 cents right here. We say add 25 cents to whatever the cost of the current gallon of gas is. And the reason being is that the fluctuation in gas prices is hard to predict. So what you do is you say if it's $2.50 a gallon, you really make it $2.75, and then you run your budget exercise. So really what you're doing is creating a surplus at that point in time. Now, if prices go up, you'll have a little bit of a surplus or a padding there. And then if the prices go above 25 cents at that point, you're going to eventually use that padding up, and then you're going to have to adjust up a little bit. Again, it's hard to predict spikes in gas prices, and in some cases the prices could also go down, so you can make an adjustment. Just try to do your best to manage it, to mitigate it, to make sure that you stay within a small variance of what the price is, so that you know that you have the money to pay for it in your budget. Because again, we like fixed numbers to our best ability, so we have consistency in our budgets. So if you run the exercise here, for example, you can see that there was added cash of $22 from the book. And you will run the same thing and you'll find out what that number is. It's about visibility and this way that you're protected. And so go ahead and run the exercise out, see what you come up with, and within a few months you should have a pretty good handle on if you've got the number down. Okay, so when you're finished there, put that number into your budget, and we've knocked out another piece, and then we are going to get into the next video for instruction for exercises for building the budget, and that is the grocery bill. Okay, so we will see you there, and thanks for joining.